Happy New Year. Oh my gosh. I love a new year. I love a new month. Sometimes I love a new day. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, yeah, do I have to? So here we are. And we have a great question from a listener, uh, of course, positioned to me and Katie, but I am flying solo today and really I don't know. I can fly solo. Like I can do this and I can also do this with Katie, and I love both. Okay. This comes from a male, late 30s, lives in Los Angeles. He is an actor and writer. He says, "Hey, Emily and Katie, thanks for doing this. I'm having a difficult time finding my footing in a new city." I love this. A less diplomatic, more honest way of saying this is that I hate Los Angeles. Yeah. Okay. Hence my question. How can I be truthful about my circumstances without being defeatist? On the flip side, is there a line that separates positivity from delusion? I feel I once knew how to answer these questions and live in them, but I've lost my way. Okay, lost in a city you hate. That's tough. Like that's the first thing that comes up for me. Lost when you're in your hometown is more tolerable, right? So finding your footing is actually what I want to focus on. Having a difficult time finding my footing, which is essentially what I think you're saying. I once knew how to find my footing, and now I'm lost. So the first thing that comes up for me is, how did you find your footing before? So how did you answer these questions? You said you once knew. And I have a feeling you once knew because there was some stability in your life. There were values that you lived by. Maybe some of that felt amorphous or felt intuitive, or you don't have the words, or you do have the words of how you answered questions like this before. And I think you're really asking the question, like, how do I trust myself in this new city with this difficult feeling, with maybe my proclivities of being defeatist or my proclivities of being positive to the detriment of trusting myself. So here's what I know for sure about trusting yourself. So again, the first thing we're really looking at is, how have you answered these questions in the past? The second sort of chunk of time would be spent on, does that still feel right for you? Right? So you trusted yourself before, you can trust yourself again. Nothing like a move. Nothing like a move to a city, a big city, and then realizing, like, I don't like it here, to get you kind of reevaluating or auditing the way that you make decisions and answer questions. So we're going to get you clear again, right? It doesn't mean the complexity is going to be reduced. You are still who you are, or maybe even still where you are. But what feels like a good decision-making matrix for you? And I say matrix intentionally. Katie taught me this. We actually have a spreadsheet that helps you do this. Once you've determined what your values are, right? And weighs options. You know, what I hear in this question is also like, would moving change things? I don't know. I'm going to give you permission, though. You can make that choice for sure. I realize in your profession, being an actor and a writer and being in Los Angeles, and again, this is just my story about your story. from knowing and loving people who have moved to Los Angeles for their career to be in the industry. I can imagine, right, that when you hate it, gosh, a lot comes up, right? Do I need to move? Do I need to change professions? Before we get to that, I'm going to say you can. You can, and maybe you will. But after you've answered, at least to the best of your ability, with some help, I would say, from someone who can look at this a little bit more objectively, whether that's a therapist or a coach or someone who can just hold the space for you to think about it so that you don't beat yourself up too much. That's really what it is. Once you've sort of answered, right, like, this is how I've answered these types of questions before, that decision-making matrix is still relevant for me. My values are still the same, or my values have changed, and now this is what it is. Working with someone to kind of weigh the options is going to be an exercise that helps you trust yourself. So that's really, for me, what this is about. Can I trust, right, to be truthful? I don't like it here. I hate it here. And be hopeful. Can you hate Los Angeles and be hopeful about Los Angeles? Right? And only you can answer that question. I think the thing that comes up for me is, let's just work with the word hate. I think behind the words here, there's judgment. When you say, I hate something, people have a real reaction to it. It's one of those words that we move away from, right? So less diplomatic. You said it, more honest. I hate it. I wrote down the definition of hate: an intense or passionate dislike. Okay. But the second part, it's the opposite of love. And I have a feeling, to pick up and move, you didn't have this in mind. You weren't thinking like, I'm going to move and I'm going to hate it. So I love that you're saying what's true for you. I hate it here. You know, there's also, I think, a petulance that people assign to the word hate, and a fear that people assign to the word hate. Hate is not sustainable. I'm sure there's a number of platitudes and, you know, sort of, what's the word? Sayings. There's a better word. But I want to focus on hate and offer it. Could it be hate and some other things? A couple words I wrote down: lonely. We can solve for hate, by the way. We can also solve for loneliness. We can solve for fear. So if you hate Los Angeles, and that is the truth, you know, I want to go deeper with you on, like, what else? You know, hate has a finality to it, that I think is appropriate. And because you're in this, like, in-betweenness, what else? You know? And when I say we can solve for loneliness, part of what I want to come back to then is this first part: finding your footing. I don't know how you found your footing before. You'll notice that I introduced, like, I'd bring someone else in on this with you. A lot of coming to a new place is we struggle to find community. So could finding your footing have something to do with, you know, I need help. I need people. I know why I moved to LA, but now that I'm here, I hate it. And I also feel lonely, and I also feel afraid. And so how can I honor all of that and take another step forward? And usually it's because, or it's best done with other people. So, you know, there's a lot of nuance here. The opposite of where you are isn't, I love Los Angeles. I mean, there might be days even where you do love Los Angeles. But again, how did you answer this before? There's a lot that can be uncovered in that, how to answer these questions. Once you've got that formula, can you apply it to this? I hate Los Angeles. I think behind this question too is like, now what do I do? You know? And I think what you do is take a look at what is true for you now and trust yourself that you have a way forward that just isn't let me think about this. Trust yourself that you can hold, that you hate Los Angeles, and you can be honest, and you can be positive, and you will not fall into being defeatist and delusional. Trust yourself that you know how to answer questions like this. And right now, you need help to do that. And again, that can come as formalized help. That can come with awareness of why you hate Los Angeles. Like, what do you hate? And it can come from having more nuance around I hate it and I'm lonely, I'm afraid. Part of me wants to say, because of your profession, what part does Los Angeles play in the story of your life? Is Los Angeles going to be a counterpoint, a nemesis? How can you work with Los Angeles as a character and then build all the nuance of that character? Los Angeles is it's a city, right? It's a group of people. It's a group of organizations. It is in some ways, it has its own culture. It is the second largest city in the country. It has incredible diversity. It has, it is the hub of the entertainment industry. It's all of those things, right? What does it mean to you? Can you hate it and live within it? And are those confines something you can work with, So I think really evoking what value you assign to Los Angeles is a good way to sort of have a third part to the answer to this question. So I once knew how. This is how. So doing a little bit of reflection and excavating. Does that still fit for me? Or do I need to update it? So when I say this is a decision-making matrix of sorts, what I'm really saying is like, are my values still the same? And depending on the answer there, okay, what am I going to do now? What it was like, what happened, what it's like now. So now I hate it. I hate it for the following reasons. You do that work of like, what is it about it? Why did I move here? What is it that I hate about it? And then you give Los Angeles a part in your story, the counterpoint, the nemesis, and you work with it. You work with it because no matter where you live, this is a part of your life. This is something you're living through. This is something that could potentially give you a lot to do creatively. So hate it for sure. That's the truth. But trust yourself that you are more than this particular place and that this is a part of your story and that you've had a way of getting through this before. And now you're figuring out what is the way that I'm going to get through it now. Get through the nuance, get through the discomfort. My prediction is you're going to do it with other people, and you need your people. And so who are those people going to be? Maybe there's a group that's like, I hate Los Angeles.org, like, and yet here we are. I think, and I'll just say this as I close, like as a coach, I'm very critical of my field. I'm also a mental health clinician, which is where I feel less critical. But part of our responsibility as, thinking and feeling beings is to interrogate and to be curious and to ask why, and I think you're doing that. And I think you're not alone. I know you're not alone. So I say, go out there and be like, I hate Los Angeles. Here's why. What do you think? How are you experiencing it? We went on a journey with this one. A lot came up for me. I just want to say, like, my head hurts a little bit. It's a very heady thing to think through and talk through something like this, right? Because it is big. And I'm noticing that I want to stretch and I want to come back to presence. And I want to live in this moment of here we are, here we are. And we're not alone, and we got you. And we're going to help you think through what's next, because all of this is about finding the truth, finding a way to trust yourself again, and not doing that by yourself. I feel like every Ask Us Anything is going to kind of boil down to that. Practically speaking, they'll be different, what we think you should do, but don't do this alone. Keep talking, keep asking. Can ask us anything, I hope this was helpful. I hope something I said was helpful. I was so excited to answer this question, and then I got to it and I was like, this is a really tough one to give a clear-cut answer to, because there's so much in it that needs attention. So much in it that needs attention. And I think I initially was most attracted to the word hate. So just be really careful about I love and I hate. I mean, that's where we go, right? And to back it up and to really look at, like, I'm trying to fix this for you. I don't want you to hate it. And just truly letting you hate it, And from there, from that honest place, oof, we can get somewhere. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of you hating things. But I feel like, as being who I am, I wanted to fix it. So I hope we didn't fix it. I hope instead we offered a way to think about it as you feel your way through this. Oh, I'm so excited to see how this lands for you. So let us know, and good luck. Good luck. All right. If you have a question, you can hit us up at who'smissingpodcast.com/ask us anything. Submit it there. It's totally anonymous. And we can't wait to be helpful. Your questions and your input in this process of leadership in life really helps a lot of other people. So thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.